Hi guys, Virginia here and I'm back with another Kitaholic Kits design team process video for you today. This is using the June Kitaholic Kits and I'm just flicking through the 12 by 12 papers trying to find something I have an idea to do with a cut file, and I decided on the kind of peachy corally coloured one because of the coloured t-shirt that Eddie's wearing in the pictures, it matches just about perfectly, so I thought I'd use that for my background. So what I've done is cut one of the exclusive cut files from the Kitaholic Kits. I've designed 3 this month. This lovely floral cluster that goes perfectly with this collection, and there was also a meerkat and another little sentiment about unicorns and mermaids and stuff like that. So I thought I would feature this floral cut file. And what I've done is cut it out twice on a piece of white cardstock, and I've taken the outline and I'm gluing that whole piece onto this corally coloured cardstock, and then I'm going to insert the actual cut file back in place shortly. I'm just gluing down the little pieces, so I'm going to peel it off my Cameo mat. It's a very delicate cut file, so just be mindful when you're cutting it not to cut it on a super sticky mat because it may tear. But yeah, so there we go. There's one pulled out and I'm just reinserting it back into that spot. And because my my cutting mat was slightly sticky, there was a bit of stick on the back of that cut file, so it helped to kind of hold in place. And then what I'm going to do is basically paper piece those pieces back into their spots. It's really easy. If you keep them all on the mat, you can pretty much just put glue down and stick them in. So I don't make you watch me do it all. It's a very simple process. It didn't take long at all, believe me. Yeah, so just going to glue that back, and then we'll skip forward in a minute and they'll both be done. Okay, so they're both done, and now I'm going to peel out that cut file. So the bonus thing about this is that I've got 2 floral cut files that I can use on another project, so win-win. Okay, so I'm just peeling it off carefully. The main thing to do when you're doing this is not to add a ton of glue behind those pieces that you are gluing back into place, because the glue can spread out and end up adhering that cut file into place as well, so you can have a bit of trouble peeling it out. So don't be too liberal with the glue, just a little bit holds it down in place. Okay, so I'm quite liking that. Well, at the moment this went through a bit of a turmoil in my head about this layout. When I'd finished, I liked it, and then when I thought about it overnight, I didn't like it, and I got up the next morning and I very nearly cut this entire background off, but I took a few things off the page and it toned it down immediately, so we'll get to that later on. Rightio, so I'm matting my photos. There's 2 of them. I'm just going to mat them with this green. I'm sticking to colours that are kind of in the floral pattern paper, and you can see to the right hand side I actually sat down one evening and just fussy cut flowers out of that floral, the 12 by 12 floral pattern paper that came in the kit, and also from that gold vellum piece as well. I cut some out of there and they're gorgeous, so I wanted to feature them. I'm doing a bit of an offcut of the vellum behind the photo as well, and then I'm going to add some of this lovely soft pink. Just a quick layer of that, just adhering that down. Okay, there, I'll cut it out. I've got a bit of a cold at the moment. Excuse me if you hear coughing or sniffing. I do apologise. Rightio, so I've put a layer of foam behind my photos, and I'm just going to work at placing those fussy cut flowers around the entire kind of circumference of that photo cluster. So I'm just popping them in place. And I apologise if you hear squeaking. My my normal chair is broken. For some reason it's on a real lean, like the pole has kind of gone sideways, so sitting in it really hurts my back, so I'm on a little stool at the moment in my craft room until I end up getting a new seat for my desk. So the stool is a little bit squeaky, so I do apologise. Okay, so just putting them in place, just kind of trying to get some layers and dimension, just tucking them in between the pattern paper layers and underneath the photo, and yeah. And I'm just about done. Skip through a little bit. And just spreading those vellum flowers out so that they can be seen, and also having them so that they're kind of tucked under something, because that gives me a good spot to add a bit of glue behind them and it won't be seen. These two little white leaves are from the bits and pieces bag in the kit, so I thought that I would add them in because they looked quite pretty. Now I'm going to pop another layer of adhesive foam behind those photos just to lift it up even more and create more dimension in those clusters, and I'm going to start to glue all of my flowers down. Pretty simple process. I'm going to glue that entire cluster in place, and then I will finish adding all those bits around the side. And I'm just, as I'm gluing them, I'm just putting kind of glue at the base that it's going to be tucked under the photo, and then just kind of tweaking and lifting up the leaves and bending the petals to give them more dimension around the cluster as well. Getting a bit of adhesive foam behind this, just so I can tuck it under the photos. And continuing to glue bits as I go. Again, gluing and bending those leaves. Bit of glue. And the yellow. I probably could have cut most of this out. Apologies. Little daisy. Pink flower. And I'm just trying to be mindful of not having a lot of the same colours together, so not a whole bunch of pinks, just kind of spreading it out so it's all kind of evenly, the colour is evenly distributed around those photos in the flowers. Vellum flowers, just kind of tucking them in. And I find that if you use wet adhesive on the vellum, it tends to make the edges curl up a bit, which I really liked. It turned out quite beneficial to do it this way, because it added, again, more dimension into those flowers. Just tucking that one in. And then I'm going to start on the little tiny ones that I've cut out. A little vellum one. And just tucking them, peeking them out of places. Little blue one. And I'm just looking for some adhesive foam squares just to prop a few of those smaller ones up around the page. Just the last few gluing down. For some reason I've really struggled with scrapbooking lately. I think it's because we've moved recently, probably already know that, moved house, and I took about a week and a half break. All of my craft room was packed up, and so I couldn't really do anything, and then it took a few days for me to be able to get my craft room unpacked, and then another few days for me to actually start creating layouts again. And I've been kind of stuck because I got out of the mindset of thinking about scrapbooking layouts all the time, no matter what I was doing. I was always thinking about stuff in my head. I've gone from that to just, it's completely out of my mind, and I've kind of been struggling getting back into the groove of things, but I think I'm kind of getting there, getting back into the mindset of scrapbooking. And yeah, so this is the die cut pack, one of the die cut packs that comes in the kit. Is the Dear Lizzie Stay Colourful one. Now I stick down the unicorn and this little good times ahead and the swan and the birds and stuff, and at the time I'm thinking, oh, this is great, but then when I actually stopped and stepped back and looked at it at the end, I thought it was too much. And I remember thinking overnight, the background was not right, and I got up the next morning and I very nearly, you are cringe, but I very nearly contemplated cutting this entire floral cluster off that background paper, getting rid of the background and putting it on something like a teal pattern paper or something darker to make things really kind of pop off the page. But what I ended up doing was I took the unicorn off, I took the swan off, and then the little toucan bird that's down the bottom right, and a couple of other pieces. There was a little blue umbrella puffy sticker and a blue rainbow, and I took it off and pared it back just slightly, and I feel like the balance is a lot better, and things can kind of stand on their own. I think the blue was kind of jarring in a couple of the embellishments that I had on, so I'd taken them off immediately helped to rectify that. And then the unicorn, the swan and the bird just made it feel better. I left the umbrella, that green umbrella with the daisies on it, that fit in there quite nicely. But yeah, you can see it's quite full on at the moment. I'm just putting some gold sequins. These were off a little thread of gold sequins that we got in the bits and pieces bag. And of course I didn't show you me cutting the unicorn and swan off at the end. Well, I didn't cut them off, I just peeled them off. But you'll see in the still shots at the end and still shots at the beginning that they're not on there. So that's why it was me being indecisive about the page. But after the sequins, I'll put a little few splatters of gold High Top Colour Shine, and then that's it for the layout. So don't forget, as always, in the description box below, there are links to the Kitaholic Kits store and the Facebook group. So until next time, bye guys.